Hare Krishna. Yes. Yes, yeah. He lived in a very nice way, Maharaj. Listening to Srila Prabhupada's Hare Krishna chanting. So that's my satisfaction. He was very sick and then, yes, 34 years sickness. Please come home, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
We just put this on you somewhere. You have too many mics on you.
Sorry about that thing, but
It's a way of getting rid of it.
at least for now I put it at the bottom.
That's not normally there. I don't know when it's there. I never had that. I have it, but there's a way of getting rid of it. Like they got in the list.
High floating meeting controls.
Nam Krishna Praya Krishna Kristaya Buddha Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. One. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadine Nirvasesham Vanyavari Astichari Shatari. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauravata Vreda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauravata Nityananda, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranga, Nityananda, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, no. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At the holy hand. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Shri Nityananda ki jai. Jai Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivar Acharya Shtutar Satasha A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Pada ki jai. Shishi Gaurnitai ki, Shishi Jagannath Baladev Shabhadra ki, Shishi Radha Hare ki, Shishi Nityananda Trayodasi ki, Lord Nityananda Ram ki jai, Ekachakra Gram ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, all glories to the assembled, all glories to Shri Prabhupada, all glories to Shri Guru. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody on this most auspicious day. In many ways, it's the most significant day in our year, in many ways. The divine appearance day of Lord Nityananda. We especially like to welcome our very dear godbrother, His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu, who is again graced your shores here in New Zealand. I understand he was here not so long ago. Back again, wonderful. Such is the magnetic effect of New Varshan. You can't leave. And all the devotees, I don't know if you're working today or you're taking a day off or you're lazy. I'm not sure what's going on here. There's rather a large turnout for Friday morning. Maybe after a while you have to lie away. So this morning, I'll try to speak a few words on glorifying a relationship with Sri Nityananda Ram. We have, of course, little time. We'll see what we can do. So I shortened a PowerPoint presentation and adjusted it a little bit. Normally this takes at least 3 hours. But we shortened it a little bit. Let's see what happens. So today is the 13th day of the Trayodasi, Nityananda's appearance day. And first we'll begin with some invocation prayers to Lord Nityananda. Then we'll sing a little bhajan if we can. So please give your kind blessings and mercy. We'll try to proceed. Please allow me to speak a few words and correct me or forgive me if there's any errors or offenses with respond. Vande Antarupadaishwaram Shri Nityanandamishwaram Yashechaya Tatsvarupa Magena Nirupyate. This is the first verse of the 5th chapter of the Adi Lila. Let me offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose opulence is wonderful and unlimited. By his will, even a fool can understand his identity. The identity of Nityananda is, what we say, is quite extensive, not easy to grasp in some ways. We'll hear about that in a minute. Nityananda Bhakti Jai. Panchatattvatmakam Krishna Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatam Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is non-different from his features as a devotee, devotional incarnation, devotional manifestation, pure devotee, and devotional energy. Sri Panchatattva Sri Prabhupada themselves danced again and again, and thus made it easier to drink nectarian love of Godhead. They danced, cried, laughed, and chanted like madmen, and in this way they distributed love of Godhead. Sri Panchatattva Ki Jai. Nityananda Varuta Sabhati Agala Chaitanya Radasya Preme Haela Pala. Sri Nityananda, the wandering mendicant, is the foremost of all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. He is the gateway through which all service must pass. He became mad in the ecstasy of service to Lord Chaitanya. He's the gateway to which all service must pass. He's more than just a gateway. Lord Nityananda, whatever his merciful recommendation, no one can enter into the spiritual realm. He may appear in many forms. As we know, he is the Adi Guru, the original Guru. No ordinary person can impart transcendental knowledge from the Guru. Only if empowered by Lord Nityananda. Only if Lord Nityananda's mercy appears through a jiva is it possible for no jiva to become enlightened. On our own, we could do nothing. Through Lord Nityananda, Lord Balaram, non-different. The Lord performed unending acts of creation, pastimes, arranging the various facilities for his pastimes. So many things, so many arrangements are made. Lord Balaram in the spiritual realm is non-different from Lord Nityananda. Expands himself even in the realm of Krishna Loka. At least in Dwarkapuri, we see the Lord expands more forms, Vasudeva, and Krishna, Aniruddha, Padumna. And they expand again in Vaikuntha, their Lord Narayan, and also their Sankirtan, Brahma, and Ruda. Then that same Lord Sankirtan, who is Balaram himself, expands for the sake of material creation, as Lord Mahavishnu expanded Bhagavadak and Bhagavadak. And then the Lord also appears, not only as Mahasankarshan, but he appears as the three Vishnus, he appears also as Nandishesh, to serve his other expansions in this creative, this material creation. In this way, Lord Balaram fulfills all the desires of Krishna. This is the business of why he's the Adi Guru, the original Guru. He's teaching us. The only business of the Guru is to teach how to please Krishna. The jivas also, of course, are emanating. Lord Balaram is the source of the jivas. They're only shelters in Lord Balaram. So, Lord Balaram is the original Guru. Is teaching the jivas in this world, our original constitutional position is to serve Krishna. And Lord Balaram, as Lord Nityananda, and empowered followers, devotees, pure devotees of the Lord. They also represent Lord Balaram, Lord Nityananda, to show the fallen living entities how we can please Krishna by their actions, their words, their presence. They show us how we can understand the will of Krishna. Lord Balaram is a personification of that will, as is the spiritual master wisdom. So it is he through even Srimati Radharani, who is of course mistress in charge of the inner circle of pure devotion of service, conjugal love. Nonetheless, went into that realm without the blessings or mercy of Balaram and Nityananda. She will not accept anyone. He appears in many, many forms. When Krishna expands, he will expand as Lakshmana. In this case, Nityananda, whenever the need is there, he will expand. Whatever form it may take. Come as the umbrella, the resting place for the Lord, couch, as an undershade, in so many ways. To satisfy the Lord, that's his only bliss. He is the Lord. He appears in various classes, even in conjugal life, material life. In Nagamajari, he appears in all the various moods of relationship to serve the Lord according to his will. And particularly in the case of Lord Janananda, he is, of course, outer in terms of appearance in this world. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that sense, he's a senior, like protective. In the other sense, he has a very reverential service mood with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Confidential relationship. Nityananda Mahanami Sarvananda Karam Harinam Karam Devam Avaduta Shivon. I bow down to the Supreme Personality of God, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the awarder of the highest joy of all, the bestower of the holy name, and the crest jewel of all Paramanam Brahmantic. We'll hear a little bit more about the bestower of the holy name. He's the proprietor of the marketplace of the holy name. Without his mercy, we can't receive the name. Not to speak of chanting. Many times this word avadut, Nityananda avadut, comes out. Who can understand Nityananda? It's not easy to understand. Those pure souls may understand, and they may impart that understanding to us, but for their mundane perception, people sometimes judge him according to external features, external behavior, etc. That's not how Paramahamsas are to be understood. Nityanandam maham vande karne lambita muktikam chaitanya vrajagupena pavitri kritabhuttam. Salutations to Sri Nityananda, Prabhu, who has a single pearl suspended from one of his ears, who is the elder brother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and who is the purified Bhakti. Nityananda Valite Hare Krishna Premodaya Ulaya Sakalanga Ashwabanga Vaya. Simply by talking of Nityananda Prabhu, one awakens his love for Krishna. Thus all his bodily limbs are agitated, and tears flow from his eyes like the waters of the Ganges. So now we'll sing perhaps the most popular song on this day, Manashiksha Teachings to the Mind, by Narottam Thakur. Song called, normally we address this song, Nitai Padakamana. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, more soothing than a million moons, more cooling. It's beautiful, milk like, but not so white. This form is used to describe white like pure milk. His garments are blue. You can't give it a pure comparison. Blue lotus, beautiful, bright blue. There's a fortune, more fortune, many moons rising up. So try to see the song given to us. Srila Prabhupada, another manifestation of Lord Nityananda's mercy. Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Ushita Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Ushita Sri Nityananda are as cool as millions of moons. The whole universe gets peace by the shade of those lotus feet. Without the mercy of Sri Nityananda, nobody can get Radha and Krishna, the aim of human life. Therefore catch hold of the two lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu very tightly. We can take that in a more practical way. Hold on to the instructions of the spiritual masters of life and soul. Srila Prabhupada received instructions from his Gurudev, the will of Nityananda, to spread the holy name to every town and village. Lord Chaitanya's order to everyone. Lord Nityananda took up that order. Yavateki Tara Tara Krishna Desh. Amara Jayaku Guru Tara Anedesh. Every town and every village of the world, the holy name shall be heard. Pratipati Yachi Yachi Nagarani Gram. We preach according to what we've heard from the Shastra, Sadhu, Guru, Shastra. In this way we follow in the footsteps of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. As Srila Prabhupada did, and we're all here now because he took Lord Nityananda's mood as his life and soul. Just imagine Lord Nityananda, he was there with Lord Chaitanya and Puri. We'll hear about that later. And Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. And he left Vrindavan to come to the Western world to fulfill this mission or will of Lord Nityananda to deliver all the fallen souls. Lord Nityananda delivered your Jagaya Madaya, bunches of dacoits here and there. And Srila Prabhupada delivered even more fallen, unbelievably fallen living entities, drug addicts, you name it, homosexuals, drug addicts, all kinds, also conditioned souls of this world, and who we are. Lord Nityananda showers mercy on everyone. An unending ocean of mercy. Nityananda, eternal bliss, unending bliss for everyone. Prabhupada has made it available to all. Sesam Vandana Krita Jana Deva Sesam Vandana Krita Jana Deva Hitaina Bodi Loke Ajivo Sansara Suke Vidya Ajivo Sansara Vidya Kule Sikori One who has not established a relationship with Sri Nityananda is a two-legged animal. Two-legged animal. A great beast. If we are still identifying with this body, we think we're the enjoyer. We're still full of false ego. We have to have a relationship with Nityananda, and that comes through the Guru, through the disciplic succession, and embracing the instructions of the spiritual master, no matter who we are. Otherwise, we still remain animals. Even Prabhupada said one time, we got to take it, in a, say, compassionate way. The Prabhupada said, he's not chanting the 16 rounds, you're an animal. If we want to go back to Godhead, humility is practically the inseparable quality which is required. The whole spiritual world is surcharged, it's pervaded with nothing but dhanya, absolute humility. What do you mean you're calling me an animal? Who are you? I'm not calling an animal. Anyway, I call myself an animal. He cannot be called a human being. He never utters the holy name of Sri Nityananda. He's always immersed in enjoying material happiness and forgotten Sri Nitai. Who's thinking of Sri Nitai in this world? Nobody. Even we may forget, create our own idea. We're very busy on all kinds of forums, social medias, glorifying our own false perception of reality. We forget Sri Nitai. Everything's a waste of time if we don't take shelter of Nitai. He may have acquired all material scholarship and learning. What's the value of such education? This will never help us. Nitai, 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 Nitai. Someone can sit here and make it easier, getting up and down all the time. Nitai, 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 Nitai. Nitai, 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 Nitai. That's the tune. Aham kahinata hoya Nitai para hasadiya Agare Asatyare Satya Koi Mani Asatyare Satya Koi Nitaya Kodunabe Raja Radha Krishna Pade Nitaya Nahave Raja Radha Harotai Jaya Dukai so puffed up with their mundane education and scholarship. They're never humble at all. You think we know. They've forgotten the lotus feet of Sri Nitai because of their false ego and pride. They're completely under the clutches of Maya. They accept the untruth as truth. If Sri Nityananda showers his mercy upon someone, he will get Sri Radha Krishna in Vrajabhumi. So catch hold of the two lotus feet of Lord Nityananda very tightly. Nitaya Charana Satya Kanara Seva Nitaya Charana Nitai para sada Nitai Hare Kosuki Rakoranda Saranam Asa Arakama Bhavati Nitai The lotus feet of Sri Nityananda are eternally true, and those followers or servants of those lotus feet of Sri Nityananda are also eternal. Always aspire for the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, I am very distressed and an unhappy person. I'm drowning in this dreadful ocean of material existence. Oh, Shri Nityananda, Nityananda Prabhu, please make me very happy. Please, please keep me at the lotus feet. Nitai Pada Kamala, Oti Janjam Tushita, Nitai Pada Kamala, Oti Janjam Tushita, Dekara, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Nityananda Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram. Jaya Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Just see for yourself how Lord Nityananda Prabhu has blessed the people of this universe with the treasure of devotional seas. Chaitanya Radhi Bhakta Nityananda Rai, Chaitanya Yashavasi Janhara Jivai. Lord Nityananda is the foremost devotee of Lord Chaitanya. For the glories of Lord Chaitanya always reside on his tongue. Ahanisha Chaitanya Kata Prabhu Kai, Tanre Bhajila Se Chaitanya Bhakti Hai. Day and night, Lord Nityananda chants the glories of Lord Chaitanya. So when one worships Nityananda, he certainly attains devotion to Lord Chaitanya. Harideva Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rai, Chaitanya Mahima Spuri, Janhara Kripai. All glories to Lord Nityananda, who is the first manifestation of Lord Chaitanya. The glories of Lord Chaitanya become manifest by his mercy. Chaitanya Kripaya Nityananda Rati, Nityananda Janila Apa Nahi Kati. One becomes attached to Nityananda by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya. And one who knows Nityananda never faces any adversities. Sangsarera parahana bhaktira sagare yedu vibese vajuka nitai chandare. Those who wish to cross the ocean of material existence and drown in the ocean of devotional service must worship Lord Nityananda. I haven't got the presenter's view here, so I don't know what's next. Whoever sees the useful Nityananda, whose beauty attracts the whole world, feels his eyes coolly refreshed. Wherever Lord Nityananda went, people came rushing to see him with agitated hearts, majestically walking like the best of elephants. Nityananda distributed the Lord's mercy to everyone. Just as he traveled in Dwapara Yuga in the form of Baladev, now he traveled in the same way to all the holy tirthas. Okay. So, today being the appearance day, we'll just briefly mention Nityananda's appearance in this world, along with many other confidential associates of the Lord, eternal jivas who never come under the influence of the material energy, who eternally remain in this service of the Lord in the spirit of pleasing Krishna. And Lord Nityananda, along with many of those associates, appears in this world to fulfill the Lord's desires. So approximately, let's see, when did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear? When did Nehemiah appear? 1486, is that correct? So approximately 12 years prior to that, in a wonderful, I have not been there for 20 years, so I don't know what it's like now, but it's a village called Ekachakra Gram. And in Ekachakra Gram is the place where Lord Janananda chose to appear. Very special. Yes, of course, that was also the home of the Pandavas for some time during their, well, it wasn't during their exile, it was just after the burning of the House of Black. They were staying there for some time. It's another story. But, you know, I don't know now. When I was there last time, it was not developed. Maybe 25 years, I don't know, long time. There was not much development. There was no ISKCON temple as such. And it was just a very remote village, no electricity at all, none. Maybe some generator electricity, but no connection to the grid. Quite unique when you live in villages like this. And at night time, when the sun would set and the evening would come upon us, what an atmosphere. Various insects, they are very bright, shining. They have many insects that have lights on them. They have their own lights, they don't need electricity. Flying around, all kinds of evening sound. Still, very still, everything is very peaceful atmosphere. No mobiles, nothing like that, of course. And everyone comes together. All the village come together in the temples, halls, and just sing bhajans all night until late in the evening, glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. Such a beautiful atmosphere. So wonderful. Nothing but farming going on. So there Lord Nityananda appears, the son of Adai Oja and Padmavati, his eternal mother and father. It's not that they just somehow or another become. They expand in various ways to take that service. The mother and father with Lord Balaram, the same with Lord Krishna, with the expansions of Nanda. And here also King Kudmi, the father of Revati, appeared as Hadayoja. And, and they were great devotees, Brahmin family. And what a wonderful occasion when Lord Nityananda appeared. His form was so beautiful, irresistible. That his body was just like cream. Can you imagine? Butter. Just imagine it's soft like butter. Just can't stop. Embrace him. So soft. When he appeared, there's a deity of Lord Shiva in Ekachakra, I've forgotten the name. And apparently that deity, when Lord Nityananda appeared, screamed at the top of his voice. Even Advaita Acharya in Shantipur could hear it, maybe 100 or more kilometers away. So loud was the deity shout. In ecstasy, the deity was screaming, Lord Advaita Acharya, now Abhidut Nityananda. He knew what it meant. Of course, he could say at that time, Lord Nityananda was kind of hiding his identity, performing just like Lord Chaitanya did for many years, performing his childhood pastimes with his associates. Lord Nityananda was performing his childhood pastimes with his associates in Ekachakra Crown. And particularly, these things come to mind, particularly he really liked dramatic performances. He loved it. And together with his Carol boyfriends, who returned with Ekachakra Ground, they would regularly be performing Carol childhood pastimes, depicting all the various pastimes of Vrindavan, Gokul Vrindavan, and also Ramayana and other pastimes too, Amalay and so on. Particularly Lord Nityananda liked to play the part of Lakshman. That was one of his favorites. They would reenact all the very great, intricacy and perfection these dramas were being put on. So one day they put the Battle of Lanka. They performed the pastime of the Battle of Lanka, quite an exciting drama. And Lord Nityananda took the role of Lakshman. And when he told all the other boys what to do when such and such a thing happened, if the weapon of Ravana, he knocks out Lakshman completely as if he is dead. And when this happens, Shakti weapon, when that happens, then one of the boys was told, playing the part of Hanuman, you have to go and bring a flower, representing the medicine. They all forgot it. At this point of time in the drama, Lord Nityananda just completely lost consciousness. It looked like he was totally dead. There were no life symptoms. News spread around Ekachakra. It was like a panic, complete panic. Everyone's running around. No, what's happened? In real dramas, this may sometimes happen. I've heard of this happening in ancient times, not even so old, maybe 100, 120 years ago. A real actor told me one time, I was talking to him, that in previous generation in his family, one of his relatives was an actor, and he played the role of Nrsimhadev in the drama, and he killed the person playing the role of Hiranyakashipu. He ripped them to pieces on the stage, got taken to court, charged with, I guess, manslaughter. They let him off. They convinced that it wasn't him. He was not totally unconscious. So much of Lord will play in the part. We don't recommend you go that far. Be careful. Have your worst enemy play Hiranyakashipu. I didn't know it. And then so he was laid off from drama for many years and eventually got back into drama. So they gave him the part of Dasaras in the next drama. He died on the stage. He actually left his body on the stage. That to be a true story. I don't know. I was told that by an Aryan actor. So this mental mood into this world. This is what the spiritual master teaches us, how to live in this world in the mood we could please Krishna. And excuse me, I got a pat in my throat that's coming back. It's been away for a few weeks. So wherever Lord is, we've read that. So this drama, and eventually, when the boy remembered, and he went off and brought the flower back. And then the Chinadas were fired. So the residents of Ekachakra, they would wonder, how does the boy know all these things? Which I said, these are my pastimes. Not that I remember them, these are my pastimes. Just reenacting for the sake of everyone else, to engage everyone else in his pastimes. Had I pandit and could not take his eyes off of his son, day and night, he couldn't. Wherever he went, he would take his son with him to the marketplace. He would go crazy if he, or sometimes his son was off playing, whatever. He was thinking of his son all the time. Couldn't bear separation from his son. They had there's different stories. Sometimes it said he's the only son. Sometimes it said he had a brother named Monkey Ride. That's the name of the deity in Naked Chakra around Monkey Ride. It said that Nityananda eventually worshipped that deity. Monkey Ride. Well, monkey is threefold bending one. Krishna Rai refers to Radha. The monkey Rai. So they said that sometimes they would play together. That was the name of the deity. Whatever it was, Monkey Rai was there in Naked Chakra. Lord Nityananda combined Radha Krishna. However, after a certain time, it came to pass. It came to pass that time came for Lord Chaitanya to appear. And it more or less coincided with the time when Nityananda left Ekachakra. When Lord Chaitanya appeared, Nimai appeared, Lord Nityananda roared like hundreds and thousands of elephants roaring could be heard all over Bengal practically, that his Lord had appeared. And then he arranged that he would leave Ekachakra. So many lessons we can learn, not just from the point of view that he's our Guru, Adi Guru, but lessons, practical lessons, even putting Krishna's pastimes into dramatic form is one lesson. Very, very effective way of both spreading Krishna consciousness and imbibing the pastimes in our lives, in our hearts. But here's another lesson we can learn. In a sense, he just, when that unnamed sannyasi came to Ekachakra, some people posted it was actually by details, but it's not connected. Wherever he was, he came there by the Lord's arrangement. And naturally, Adayoja and Padmavati served him very, with all their life, with all their everything. They gave him everything they had. As one Noi does when elevate his soul to a And at a certain time, Hadayo often said to the sannyasi, please ask me anything, whatever charity I can give, please ask it from me. So, of course, this wasn't expected. There was a thunderbolt on the head of Hadayoja. The sannyasi said, well, I'm traveling all over India, and I have no assistant. I really need an assistant. Your son is so qualified. Please give me a what? I couldn't believe his word. Like when Vishwamitra asked, please give me your son Ramchandra, and naturally, I want to take them. Similar situation. And I found it, he couldn't refuse. Eventually, after so much tribulation, he had to agree. Disaster, you could say, for the whole of Ekachakra, they were all plunged into grief. But Lord Chaitanya, when he left to take sannyas, could say, in a similar way, plunged the whole of Navadvipa. But he's plunging us plunging them deeper and deeper into deeper longer path, the intensive mood of separation else. You know, when we're externally present, sometimes we take it for granted. Sometimes we only remember when they're there, when something reminds us of them. When they're separated, and separation is not one of those few hours, but it is a permanent one. When someone leaves their body, we go crazy. Intensive absorption in them. So like this, the resonance sacred chakra ground totally absorbed. So Nityananda thought could say detachment in one sense, but primarily the resonance of sacred chakra ground intensive. That was it. He did return much later. Then for many years, in fact, he traveled. He traveled widely for about 12 years. So he traveled, or maybe less, but he traveled from India and eventually he arrived in Vrindavan. He traveled all over this sannyasi and eventually came to Pandharpur. Pandharpur is a holy place in Maharashtra. And there in that holy place, he actually came in contact with his, for the sake, he's teaching another lesson here, even the Supreme Lord takes Diksha, initiation. He took initiation from Lakshmipati Tirtha there in that holy place of Pandharpur. It's a wonderful pastime. I don't think we have time to tell it today, but it's a wonderful pastime of how he, in one sense, he initiated Lakshmipati Tirtha in the form of Balaram, and then Lakshmipati Tirtha gave that initiation in mantra back to Nityananda. But it was actually Nityananda himself who gave the mantra to Lakshmipati Tirtha in the first place. So this is how knowledge goes. It comes from Krishna. We hear this nice story, for example, given in regards to Sandipani Muni, how he was teaching Krishna and Balaram. But that's the source of all knowledge. But they love to hear it from their devotees. They love to receive that nectar from their devotees and to give the devotees this opportunity to serve them in this way. The Lord Nityananda gave Lakshmipati Tirtha this opportunity to serve them. It's described like the ocean. The ocean, the water evaporates, it turns into water vapor, whatever it's called, into clouds, and then it pours down on the mountains and flows back into the ocean. So we may say the water, the rivers are the source of the water in the ocean, but actually the ocean is the source of its own water. It just goes in its flow. That's its devotional service. What can we do? We just have to catch the flow and let it go. So after that, Nityananda Prabhu, he went to all the places that we just heard. The Lord Balaram went on his tour of India at that time. And he met Madhavendra Puri. That was quite a emotional, transcendently emotional interaction which they had. Ecstatic emotion. Madhavendra Puri and Nityananda embracing each other for hours on end. Eventually, Nityananda reached Vrindavan. He was traveling alone at this time. And he reached Vrindavan and he stayed there for many years. And he was performing pastimes with young boys there, young men there in Vrindavan, Bhagavad pastime. And then when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his first period of his life, when he was in Navadvip, in Mayapur, he did not manifest his external reason for coming, neither his internal in one sense. He was engaged in pastimes of scholarship and play with his associates. He also entered into the Grihastha ashram, so there was conjugal, but it was declared to the world what his external mission was. That only took place after he received initiation from Ishwara Puri. After receiving initiation from Ishwara Puri, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was manifested his Sankirtan pastimes on returning to Mayapur. He was in a changed person, at least he appeared to be, and manifested madness and devotion for Krishna and started the Naga Sankirtan. both in the house of Srivas Pandit and in congregation on the street. So as soon as this happened, Nityananda in Vrindavan knew that now my time has come to join my Lord. So he left Vrindavan and proceeded quickly to Vrindavan, to Mayapur. And it's a beautiful pastime of their meeting there in Mayapur. And then the Sankirtan movement began. And the Panchatampa sheared later Shivas Vedardha. Nityananda all together, they spread the Sankirtan movement along with their associates all over the street villages of Nadia, dancing and chanting. Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Raha Krishna, Krishna Mamata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Janananda. You can see how Bhakti Vinod Thakur took this beautiful song, Nadia Godumi Nityananda Mahajam, from this verse from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Say Krishna, worship Krishna, and chant the names of Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is your life and wealth. So particularly Lord Nityananda took this to heart to start the Namahata in Godruma, in that place just near where Bhakti Vinod Thakur has his home there in Godruma. Lord Nityananda started the Namahata, going village to village, marketplace to marketplace, delivering your jagais and madais. Usually the kids do a drama. I don't know if they go in today. They could do it, but we won't. And so many things. Door to door, Lord Nityananda taught us this lesson. Don't be discouraged. Even Lord Nityananda would go to doors and sometimes people would say, go away. Who are you? Get out of here. I have no time for this. We want to speak of the likes of ourselves. Lord Nityananda would laugh and dance. Somebody say, why you don't chant Krishna's name? I have no time to chant Krishna's name. You've chanted Krishna's name. Next time another Prabhupada say, get people to chant Krishna's name. Somehow or other. By hook or by crook, get them to chant. Do you like Hare Krishna? No, I don't like Hare Krishna. Somehow. That doesn't mean Krishna, your mother is Krishna, by the way. Sometimes Indian people think my mom and dad are Christian. Krishna is their real mother. They will sing the song, Agyata, the Lord's order to patrol around the town and chant. Agyata's order to go here. Beautiful thing. Ready? Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajam. Patiyache Namahata Jivarakam. Nityananda Nadia. The magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace, holy name, meant for the deliverance of all born souls. Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Goro Krishna Shiksha. O people of faith, O people of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg these three requests of you. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and teach others about Krishna. Aparada shunya hoye loho Krishna nama. Aparada shunya hoye. Krishna Master, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Rama. Being careful to remain free of offenses. Just take the holy name of Lord Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is the treasure of your life, and everything. And by the mercy of Nityananda, we can get Krishna. Krishna samsara kari anata. Jaya Krishna Prabhavanata. Giving up all sinful activities. Carry on your worldly duties only in relation to Lord Krishna. The showing of compassion to other souls by loudly chanting the holy name of Krishna is the essence of all forms of buddhism. Back to the first verse. Nadiya Goswami Nityananda Mahajana Bhakti Asina Hata Jiva Haram Shadavanjane, Shadavanjane. Hey, Hariya Bhagune, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. Nityananda, Nityananda, So after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because they were doing Sankirtan, now they're doing overtime. After he took sannyas, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then decided to go to Vrindavan. Of course, for 3 days in ecstasy, Nityananda Prabhu was with Lord Chaitanya when he took sannyas, and accompanied him on his journey to Vrindavan. Was taking him around and around. Ekachakra ground is in an area called Bangladesh. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas in Kerala, and from there they went to around about Bangladesh here. Lord Chaitanya thought he was on his way to Vrindavan. But Lord Nityananda had another idea. He conspired with Advaita. These two have a very interesting rapport with each other. Very sweet, exciting rapport. So Advaita Acharya Nityananda arranged that Nityananda would trick Lord Chaitanya. And so they were going around. Lord Chaitanya didn't know it was day or night, how long they'd been going. He was totally oblivious to time. And Lord, sometimes he'd say, are we in Vrindavan? Are we near? Is Vrindavan near? Where are we? And Lord Nityananda was sometimes arranged with coward boys. If he asked you, is Vrindavan near? You say, yes, yes. Just over here is the river Yamuna. And sure enough, when coward boys said like that, Lord Chaitanya got very excited, running through the Yamuna. Eventually they came to the river. Lord Chaitanya, thinking that he's in Vrindavan, here's the river Yamuna. Entered in ecstasy into the river. Vrindavan, Yamuna. Oh. And bless, all of a sudden, lo and behold, in a boat should turn up none other than Advaita Acharya. Advaita, how did you know that I was in Vrindavan? How did you know that I was in Vrindavan? My Lord, wherever you are is Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to have some doubts. Am I really in Vrindavan, or has this Nityananda tricked me? He said, Nityananda, you have tricked me. For instead of bringing me to the Jamuna, you have brought me to the Ganga. Very near here is Shantipur. What have you done? You've tricked me. My Lord, I has not tricked you. In fact, where you have just taken your bath on the western side flows the river Jamuna. This is indeed the river Jamuna where you have taken your bath. And besides, wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. He has not tricked you. And the whole pastime takes place. They go back to the house of Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya, they don't just prepare boiled vegetables and some plain rice. Nothing very much, just a little spinach. Just suitable for sannyasi. Oh, okay, so Lord Chaitanya went, and they saw. I think he's hungry. Why don't you feed him or her? Babies let you know when they're hungry, usually. If you're hungry, I can hear some of your tummies rumbling. But maybe you're fasting today, and I usually just take a grain of rice because this is very special. So Nityananda and Mahaprabhu, they go for lunch, but they were thinking just a little boiled vegetable and some plain rice. But they see what a beautiful arrangement that Advaita has made. Many plates are sitting there in front of this home Shila. Beautiful preparations, hundreds and hundreds. It is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We cannot describe it, but an incredible feast has been prepared. And Lord Chaitanya is praising Advaita Acharya and his wife for preparing such wonderful. I will take the dust of anyone, of the feet of anyone who prepares such beautiful, wonderful preparations to offer the Lord like this. Place it on my head. Lord Chaitanya was in ecstasy. And then the Advaita said, my Lord, please sit down here and take a little prasadam. So they sat them down with the plates. Well, no, just please bring us a little banana leaf. We'll just take a little tiny bit. He sat them down. Please do not speak like this, pretentious words, my Lord. I know who you are. Don't try to fool me. You please sit down here. But I cannot eat like this. No, my Lord, you just be quiet. You just sit down. But I'm sannyasi. This will ruin all my sannyas principles. I know who you are. In Jagannath Puri, you eat 54 times a day, much more than this at each time. Sit down and stop talking and eat. You cannot just take a little bit of everything. How? Just take something. They sat him down and they started to eat. Lord Chaitanya was, what's going on? Every time they half ate something, Advaita would fill the plate up again. Unending prasadam, unending. However, to the contrary, Nityananda was sat there. What is this? You have invited me to your home to feed me. I have been fasting for 3 days, and now I see my fast has to continue. such little food you have given me. I've not even the least of it. What can I do? I'm a poor Brahmin. You are a mendicant wandering here. You should be living on roots and leaves. You should accept whatever little I can give you. Huh. I am a sannyasi, and you have invited me to your home. It is your duty to feed me according to my desires. I've not eaten the least of it. Take it away. And they're going at each other. Listen, you are just a reject, Paramahamsa. You have come to my home just to fill your belly. You past Brahmins, to atone for the offense you've just committed, you should invite 10,000 sannyasis to your home. Feed them all. Later retorted, I will never again invite a sannyasi to my home, because it is a sannyasi who has ruined my Brahminical principles. Nityananda picked up some rice, threw it on the ground. Take it away. And the rice bounced up and hit Advaita, who jumped up in the air, dancing next. I've been touched by the mercy of Nityananda. And they're going. They're enjoying loving pastimes. Again, you can enact it, but don't try to imitate it. So eventually, of course, Lord Chaitanya went on to Jagannath Puri. Nitai stayed there, Puri, and Lord Chaitanya went on the South Indian tour. Nitai went back to Bengal. When Mahaprabhu returned to Puri, Nitai also came, along with all the devotees from Bengal. Such wonderful, loving reciprocation. This is one of the, you could say, biggest teachings in Chaitanya Nitai's pastimes is the loving reciprocations between all kinds of devotees. Total compassion for all living entities, humility, tolerance, so many things. How Lord Nityananda was tolerant with Jagai and Nagai, so tolerant, more tolerant than a tree, so tolerant and so humble. Yes. So like this, Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were there in Puri, enjoying kirtan, rasa yatras, prasadam, feasting. And Nityananda, at one point of time, Lord Chaitanya then said, Shuno, Shuno, Nityananda, Shuno. Well, this is still in my portion. Shuno Haridas, Abhatra Maravya Kurvabhukash, Patigari Garegia Korome Diksha. Same verse, Chaitanya Bhairava. Koro Krishna Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Kirtan. Iyavaya Navogi Bhavonaivam, Ina Avasane Asi, Amare Koivam. Listen, listen, Nityananda, listen, Haridas. Make my command known everywhere. Go from house to house and beg from all the residents. Please chant Krishna's name, worship Krishna, and teach others to follow Krishna's instructions. Do not speak or cause anyone to speak anything other than this. Jai Janananda. And on the way to Puri, that's a very famous pastime. Most of the pictures I took out, one or two I put in. This is a picture of Nityananda enjoying the pastime of breaking Lord Chaitanya's danda. And there are different stories. And then said Lord Chaitanya went to take a bath. Sometimes he said he went to the local temple, different things, or to collect, go begging, whatever it was. But Lord Chaitanya was away for a few moments. Meanwhile, he left his danda behind, Ekadanda, once thing. And Lord Chaitanya couldn't stand it, that his Lord is carrying this stick, which is the embodiment of the demigods, that the Supreme Lord is carrying those who should be carrying him in his hand. So snap, snap, he broke in half and threw it in the river. Dandabanga, that place where the river is called Dandabanga, where the danda was broken. Threw it. It not only represents that, but it's also this Ekadanda should be three dandas. So he broke it like this. Threw it in the river. Anyway, that was a little pastime on the way to Puri. In this way, the two brothers, Chaitanya and Nitai, lived at Nilachal. One day, Sri Gaurasundara, Supreme Lord, in the form of a human being, sat down with Nityananda in a solitary place. The Lord said, "Listen, O magnanimous Nityananda, go quickly to Navadvip. I have personally promised to inundate the fools, the fallen, and the poor in the happiness of ecstatic love." Here's Lord Chaitanya's mission, along with his associates. He appeared in this world to perform, to experience Krishna prema along with congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So he went along with his associates and delivered this, by the performance of the Sankirtan, delivered Krishna prema even to the untouchables. In this way, he wove a wreath of the holy name and Krishna prema with which he garlanded the entire material world. So here, Nityananda and Haridas were two of his chief, you could say, his chief distributors. If you also remain silent like a Muni and renounce your magnanimous nature, then tell me, who will deliver the fools and the wretched souls who have fallen into material life? Bhakti rasa data tumi sambhavile, tabi avataravati nimite karile. You are the distributor of the mellows of devotional service. If you hide them, then what is the use of your incarnation in this world by taking shelter of Nityananda? No matter what our mood may be, whatever our relation may be, by the mercy of Nityananda, it will manifest. Now, if you wish to fulfill my promise, then you should go to Bengal without delay. Deliver the foolish, wretched, fallen, and distressed persons by giving them devotional service. Raksha Raksha Nityananda, Sibala Gopal, Raksha Kara Prabhu Tumi Sarva Jiva Pari. Oh, that's something that comes later. I haven't got I usually have a screen, so I know it's 10 minutes. So Lord Nityananda took this order to heart. He left Puri. Lord Chaitanya said, "Don't come back again." Of course, he did come back again. That's another thing. But he left Puri and went to Bengal with many of his associates, and they're going village to village everywhere, chanting the holy names in ecstasy like madmen, going everywhere. Everywhere they go, people would rush to see them and join in the kirtans. Eventually, they reached Bengal, and particularly there's a wonderful pastime, another big lesson taught. So that's one lesson. He accepted the words of Lord Chaitanya as his life and soul, and he followed that direction. And then when he got to Panihati in Bengal, nearby where Raghunath Das Goswami, at that time not Goswami, was residing, Raghunath was able to come and see him, and then Lord Chaitanya punished him, said, "Telling me you're a thief, staying at a distance, come near." He dragged him there and punished him, put on Raghunath's head, blessed him with his lotus feet. And then he punished him by ordering him to prepare a feast of rice Chiradoi Mahotsav. And why he called him a thief? Because Raghunath was trying to go straight to Lord Chaitanya. Nityananda said, "You cannot do that. I am the gate." We didn't say that, but Lord Nityananda is the gateway to Lord Chaitanya. One must go through Nityananda if we want to worship Lord Chaitanya. We must worship both of them. But the gateway is through Lord Nityananda. That means through the spiritual master, the sadhu, the parampara. This is the only way we can reach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without reaching, or without pleasing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How can we please the gopis of Vrindavan? How can we please Radharani without pleasing the gopis, and without pleasing Radha? How can we please Krishna? And how do we please Nityananda? Lord Chaitanya has just given the order. You deliver the most fallen souls, the rogues, the thieves, the dacoits. You preach everywhere. You don't discriminate. So it's stated that if we want to get Lord Nityananda's mercy, we have to preach to the Jagais and the Madhais. We don't preach to the choir, as they say. You have to preach to the fallen souls, the Jagais and the Madhais. This is what the Sankirtan movement is all about. Why do we go on Harinam Sankirtan? It's not a joyride, it's not a breakout, it's not a holiday, it's not a party, a religious party, but primarily it's to share the holy name with all living entities, even the most fallen. Why do we just do prasada? Not to fill our bellies, but to purify the whole atmosphere, to give everyone a chance to connect with Krishna. Why do we distribute books? Not to make money, not to get a name on top of the sheet, not to just get some praise or whatever it is. We have nothing else to do. We like it, but it's the methodology given to us by our Srila Prabhupada, his Guru gave, to change the world, to awaken Krishna consciousness into society. This is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, to deliver all conditions souls, no matter who they are. So how? Raksha we read, O Nityananda, O Sri Gopal, please protect me, O Lord. You're the maintainer of all living entities. Please protect me. I don't know how that got there. It was meant to be. Anyway, it's a good verse for those who appreciate it, for those who don't. The distress of one who commits the I got it. I know where this comes from. When Lord Nityananda Prabhu was preaching, sometimes he would encounter dacoits, thieves, bandits. Is the famous one. You've heard of Janananda already a little bit, but this is a famous one also in on his return to Navadvip to Bengal. How that bandit chief, he was actually a Brahmin by birth, but he also became a dacoit, and he had a band of dacoits, and they would plunder anyone that they could get their hands on, steal all their jewelries, etc., perform all kinds of crimes. So one day they were, Lord Nityananda and his associates were dancing ecstatically, and this bandit, this dacoit rather, saw them from a distance. He came in close. He saw that Nityananda he was avadut. Sometimes Nityananda would dress with nothing on at all, just wrap his cloth around his head. He'd be naked, and he would dance like that. And sometimes he would dance with jewelry everywhere, covered in jewelry. He was an avadut. Sometimes he would dive into the river Ganga and sit on crocodiles. He would ride a crocodile in the river. Sometimes he would milk bulls, trying to milk the bull. Sometimes he would just grab a girl and say, "Marry me." He was rather an eccentric. He could rather unusual. Sometimes he was called a sannyasi, and sometimes not. No one could define him, who he was, what his caste was, this, that, the other. And he was really quite something. Anyway, in this particular case, he was covered in jewels, and the dacoit leader said, "Wow, my God, if we could plunder this guy, we wouldn't have to worry about anything for the rest of our lives. We'd be billionaires." So he made a plot. He went back and gathered up his band, and they worked out that Nitai was staying in the house of Ivanya Pandit on the edge of Navadvip somewhere. So they thought, that's easy, right? There's no one else around. It's an isolated house. So let's go there at night and plunder him. So they all got together and they went off in the night, and they saw there was lots and lots of followers of Nityananda in the house. So they thought, okay, we'll wait till they all go home. And they said, you stay on guard and wake us up when they all go. So they started falling asleep, and they slept, even the guard fell asleep. And eventually they woke up only when the sun rose. Oh no, we missed our chance. Oh no. Okay, we'll come back again soon. We'll make sure we won't fall asleep. It was your fault. And they come back again a day or two later. This time they're waiting outside in the bushes. There's these huge men pounding up and down with big swords and shields. Hurry, 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 hurry. Boom, 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 boom. Hurry, hurry. Giants, 8 foot tall. What's going on here? Maybe there's a king. A king visiting the avadut. Okay, well, it's not our lucky day. I think we must have made a mistake. Let's go back and worship. Let's go back and worship Changu properly. Yes. They went back and did their pujas, chanting their mantras again very severely. So they would not, that they would have success in their venture. So they went back another day, another night, but this night, suddenly the sky became covered. The moon, everything went jet black. No one could see anything. The thunder and lightning started crashing. Lightning and hailstones as big as footballs were crashing down. Rain pouring, the wind blowing. They were being tossed around left and right, beaten to the ground. One of them fell into a ditch with all kinds of leeches, scorpions biting him like anything. Another one fell into a thorn bush, being ripped to shreds. They all got caught in different ways, being torn asunder as the hailstones smashing on their bodies and scorpions biting them, all kinds of things. Terrible situation. The storm was crashing on. And they were about to die. And eventually the leader came to his senses. And he started to realize this personality is not an ordinary avatar. This person must be God, the supreme being. And he said, "Oh my Lord, please protect me. Please save me." And then he went. The house was rounded, panted into the house and begged forgiveness. The distress of one who commits offenses that your low feet is destroyed simply by remembering you. You forgive all offenses of the living entities, and you bestow mercy on the fallen souls. I have killed Brahmins and cows. O Lord, there is no greater offender than these. If the most sinful person takes shot of you, he's freed from all material bondage. O Lord, you protect the living entities from the time of their birth and also the time of their death. O Lord, please protect me from this calamity today. If I survive, I will remember this lesson. Birth after birth, you, my Lord, and I am your servant. Whether I live or die, I have no other desire. Lord Nityananda responded, Yarma pati kiya tumi lahaina, tabi tumi anyere, kadima paditra. Lead a religious life and chant the name of Hari, then you can also deliver others. You should gather all the roads and darkways together and induce them to lead to religious life. In that way he did. He preached that darkwood, also converted countless rogues and thieves to Krishna consciousness. Well, we may as well carry on. You can leave whenever you want, but we'll just do one or two more little slides. On the way to Puri sometimes Lord Nityananda would accompany the devotees. Shivananda Singh was the leader of the party. He was a very good organizer, but sometimes he had to deal with other things. Sometimes they had to pay toll money and this and that, and he would have to stay behind. So on one such occasion, Shivananda Singh was held up. In the meantime, they arrived at the village destination, but Shivananda was not there. No proper arrangements had been made to accommodate Lord Nityananda. And nothing. Food, accommodation, not properly arranged. Good lesson. So Lord Nityananda became quite angry. Started to get quite angry at Shivananda Singh's his wife was there and his children were there. And he said, I curse the sons of Shivananda to die. Huh? The wife was Nashi's, the offense that he has committed to me by not arranging for the accommodation in Prasad. So then eventually, when Shivananda arrived, there he got a mighty boot in the stomach. Lord Nityananda kicked him full on, boom. And then Shivananda heard about the curse. He just started dancing in ecstasy. I'm the most fortunate. I've been chastised and cursed by Lord Nityananda. Stop crying, you foolish woman. This is the greatest benediction, to be cursed by Lord Nityananda. Of course, they didn't die. Lord Nityananda was performing pastimes with his pure devotees. He's very funny. Lord Nityananda was sometimes very funny. Yes, today you have accepted me as your servant and properly punished me for my sins. So to be chastised by the Guru is a great blessing. No, we always want to be praised, to be corrected, chastised, in whatever form it is really good fortune. We're here to be purified, not just to vanish, but to be purified. Krishna consciousness is the purificatory process. Nityananda is the personification of purification. My dear Lord, for chastising me as you call with mercy, Who within the three worlds can understand your real character? Today my birth, my family, my activities have all become successful. Today I've achieved the fulfillment of religious principles, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and ultimately devotion and service to Lord Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, whether Sri Nityananda accepts the hand of an outcast woman or enters a liquor shop, his lotus feet are still worshipable even by Lord Brahma. Madhira Yamani Yadi Dari Nityananda Tatapi Brahmara Vanjabali Chandra. Chandra said, if Nityananda enters a liquor shop, that's the same thing. This is a duplication. Yes, Bengali and the translation of that verse. Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Prabhu Nityananda Janara Prasadi Bhai Prabhu Gaurachandra. Oh brothers, just worship Nityananda Prabhu, by whose mercy one can attain Lord Gaurachandra. Yeshunaye Nityananda Prabhu Rakyana Tare Miliva Gaurachandra Bhagavan. One who hears the topics of Nityananda Prabhu will attain the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Lord Nityananda. Who's he with? Who's he taking around Navadvip? Eva. Wonderful. Last. So we have last Bible because Lord Nityananda remained after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for some time. But he was preaching in Bengal. During Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, Lord Nityananda decided to enter into Grihastha. So nice story, Trayodasi. One Brahmin living there. Eventually, Lord Nityananda married his two daughters. Who are their names? Two wives of Nityananda. What are their names? Janava and pardon? Janava and Vasudha. His two consorts, who are none other than, of course, Revati. Who's the other wife of Balaram? Varuni. Revati and Varuni. And they appeared as Janava and Vasudha. Janava was given as a dowry when he married. When Lord Vasudha was given as a dowry when he married Janava. So they had very illustrious children, offspring, Virabhadra and Gangadasi, Devidasi. For ordinary personalities, even Gangadev Dasi was initiating many devotees. She had so many followers, initiating followers, Diksha disciples. Those are Virabhadra, great followers of Nityananda. We try to follow in their footsteps, take this mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the grace of Lord Nityananda. The Guru is giving us instruction to preach Krishna consciousness wherever we go. We try to do this. This afternoon we plan to go for Harinam, Krishna willing, short Harinam in the streets of Auckland. Please bring books. If you have prasada, please bring prasada to distribute. Especially bring books. And let's see if we could do a little service. Please, Nityananda Ram, on this most auspicious day of Nityananda Trayodasi, the appearance day of Lord Nityananda. So we shall finish there for today. Shri Nityananda Ram ki jai. Nityananda Trayodasi ki jai. So pray Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Haribo, Haribo. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Transcendental book distribution ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Nityananda Ram ki jai. Om Premanande. Hare Krishna. Haribo. So, I don't know if you're fasting, feasting, I don't know what you're doing here. It's different all over the place. I get lost with all these fast days and Ekadashis and breakfasts. I'm taking, this is my breakfast. Probably got some grain in it. So this evening we'll be gathered again here, 6 o'clock onwards, for those who are on Harinam, and those who are on Harinam, we're back as soon as we can, and then an ecstatic evening program will further glorify, take the dust of Nityananda's feet, bathe in that dust, roll in the dust, make that dust their life and soul. Jai Nibo. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for plunging us into ocean.
Oh, I just mad and madman. Hare Krishna. They're so, it's your mercy, your association. Oh, Garanga.